The message of Jesus, responding to God with faith. God is powerful, and He is good. He always uses His enormous power to further His promise of love and grace toward His people. He is gentle, loving, slow to anger and full of mercy. This is good, but what difference does it make in our lives? How do we respond to the God, who is together powerful and gentle? We respond in at least two ways. Trust. When we realize that God has the power to do whatever He wants, and that He always uses Him for the good of humanity, then we can have complete confidence that we are in good hands. He has both the ability and the purpose to make all things work, including our uprising, bitterness, and treachery against Him and one another for our emancipation. He is completely trustworthy, worthy of our trust. Even when we are in a state of trials, illness, pain, and even death, we can be sure that God is still with us. He cares for us, that everything is under His control. It may not seem like it, and we certainly don't feel in control, but we can be confident that God isn't caught off guard. He can and does compensate for any situation, any calamity for our good. So what is faith, and how does it differ from belief? Saving faith is trust. We trust God to take care of us, to do good rather than evil, to give us eternal life. Trust means knowing that God exists, knowing that He is good, knowing that He has the power to do what He wants, and trusting that He will use it to do whatever is best for us. Trust means a willingness to put ourselves under Him, to be willing to obey not out of fear but out of love. When we trust God, we love Him. Trust is shown by what we do, but the action is not the trust, and it does not create the trust, it is only the result of trust. Faith is, at its core, trust in Jesus Christ. God gives us the ability to trust Him. He also gives us the ability to grow in faith. The down payment of faith is a seed that grows. It prepares and enables our minds and our emotions to understand more and more of the gospel. It helps us understand more about God as He reveals Himself to us in Jesus Christ. To use a biblical metaphor, we begin to walk with God, we live in Him, think in Him, and believe in Him. Our second response to God is the doubt. Most people struggle with faith at some time or another. Our growth is not always smooth and steady. It comes through trials and questions. For some, doubts come because of a tragedy or severe suffering. For others, it is prosperity or good times that subtly tempt us to rely on material things instead of God. Many of us will face both sorts of challenges to our faith. Poor people often have stronger faith than rich people do. People beset by constant trials often know they have no hope except God, no choice but to trust Him. Poor people tend to give a higher percentage of their income to the church than rich people do. It appears that their faith, even though not perfect, is more consistent. Often, the greatest enemy of faith is when all goes well. People are tempted to think that it was by their strength or their intelligence that they achieved as much as they have. They lose their sense of childlike dependence on God. They rely on what they have, rather than on God. Poor people are in a better position to know that life on this planet is full of questions, and God is the least suspicious of them. They trust Him because everyone else has proven themselves to be unreliable. Money, health and friends are all fickle. We cannot depend on them. Only God is trustworthy, but even then, we don't always have the proof we want, so we have to trust Him. Still, we sometimes fight skepticism. It is part of the process of growing in faith. Learning to trust God with greater life, we are faced with the choices set before us and once again choose God as the best option. As Blaise Pascal said centuries ago, if we believe for no reason, at least we must believe because God is the best bet. If we follow Him and He does not exist, we have lost nothing. But if we don't follow Him and He exists, we have lost everything. We have nothing to lose, and by believing in God, living and thinking that He is the most definite reality in the universe, we have nothing to lose. By faith in God, we can give Him the first place in our life. When we believe that God is as good as He says He is, we will put Him above all else, and be prepared to make the sacrifices He asks of us. We will trust in Him, and it is through that trust that we will experience the joy of salvation. The Christian life, from first to last, is a matter of trusting in God. If you have faith and trust in God, then like and share the video and subscribe the channel to watch videos like this. Thank you.